At Brave Combat Federation 91 in Bahrain, Muhammad Mokaev took on Jovinson So. Mokaev started the fight with strikes, landing some kicks. But around a minute and a half in, he went to his bread and butter, went for a double leg takedown, and secured it easily. He landed a couple strikes, and then he quickly went for a Darce choke, and he secured it pretty quickly and got the tap 152 into the contest. Credit to Jovinson So for taking the fight on 2 days' notice. Not an easy thing to do against a guy like Mokaev. Mokaev says he's the best flyweight in the world. He was number 6 in the UFC's rankings, but they chose not to re-sign him, so he's kind of in career purgatory at the moment. He wants to get back into the UFC. They have shown some interest in bringing him back, but for now, he's in Brave. Mokaev improves his record to 13 wins, no losses, and 1 no contest. Rizwan Kuniev will be fighting Blaydes in February. That's a little bit strange because this is his first UFC fight. He won a UFC contract off the Contender Series. He's a decent fighter with a decent record, but he's fighting a top 5 guy in Blaydes in his UFC debut. It seems very unusual. He'll likely be a massive underdog in that fight, but if he pulls it off, he's essentially in the top 5 in his first UFC fight. 2 fights back, Kuniev had a decision victory over Renan Ferreira, but that was overturned to no contest because he had 4 different kinds of steroids in his system. 19-norandrosterone, drostanolone, methanolone, boldenone, and a fucking Toblerone laced with roids too. Holy shit. UFC's got 4 events in February. You had the fight night in Riyadh, then you had the UFC 312 card in Sydney, then you got the fight night at the Apex, and then you got the fight night in Seattle. The February 15th Fight Night card at the Apex will have Johnny Walker's brother Valter Walker on it, sticking on Dontel Mays in a heavyweight contest. Walker won his last fight against Junior Tafa in August. He won by heel hook. Tafa screamed, which is considered a verbal tap. Tafa disagreed and got mad, and he ended up slapping Walker, which is pretty irrational. It's not Walker's fault. Mayew also last fought in August. He fought Shamil Gaziev, and Gaziev won a decision. Gaziev fights Thomas Peterson February 1st in Saudi Arabia. Gaziev is ranked number 14. He thinks with a victory, he'll be ranked close to the top 10. The Bellator card on the 25th of January in Dubai has its full main card set. You have Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes in the main event. Vadim Nemkov versus Corey Anderson for the 3rd time in the co-main event. You also have Zabit Magomed Sharipov's brother Hassan Magomed Sharipov taking on Nathan Kelly. Magomed Sharipov is 10-0. And a featherweight contest and bantamweight contest kick off the main card Saturday, January 25th in Dubai at the Coca-Cola Arena. Coca-Cola with burgers.
Next is Coca-Cola with ice and some steaks with burgers, you know. It's like, I'm very hungry.
So am I.
Thank you.
Are you hot?
Huh?
Poirier says he's got something planned for you. Hold on, I'm coming. He has one last fight, one last dance, and he says there will be blood.
Then there will be blood and pain, as you cannot imagine.
Kennedy Freeman signs with the UFC. She's undefeated, 6-0. She's the bantamweight champion of Cage Warriors. She's also the daughter of British MMA pioneer Ian Freeman, who's a former UFC fighter. His most notable victory was defeating Frank Mir via TKO. UFC middleweight Brendan Allen has a staph infection. People tell him to clean his mats, but he says it's not due to training. He didn't elaborate as to how he got it. He's scheduled to take on Anthony Hernandez on February 22nd. This is a rematch from 2018 in the LFA organization. Anthony Hernandez won that fight via decision. That's a good fight to have on the regional scene. People at the time didn't realize they're watching 2 future ranked UFC middleweights, one in the top 10, and guys who would go on to headline cards in the UFC. A new series called Dark Side of the Cage premieres Wednesday, January 8th at 10 p.m. on Vice. It looks pretty interesting and well done. It has episodes on Evan Tanner, Kimbo Slice, both unfortunately passed away, Diego Sanchez, War Machine, The Ultimate Fighter, Nick Diaz, Ronda Rousey, Matt Hughes, and the rise and fall of Pride. The Dark Side of the Cage is from the same creators of The Dark Side of the Ring on Vice, which was a series that focused on pro wrestling. Tom Aspinall says he doesn't consider Jones the GOAT because in the past he was flagged for having PEDs in his system. Some people make that argument, and when you take guys who didn't flag for PEDs on the GOAT list, some names that come up are George St. Pierre, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Fedor Emelianenko, Demetrius Johnson, and Jose Aldo. Aspinall says he's never used PEDs, but he says after he retires, he'll probably do TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. Gabriel Benitez no longer on the UFC roster. He has 1 win and 3 losses in his last 4 fights, and he lost his last 2 fights to Mahashate and Jim Miller. John Jones still messing with Daniel Cormier with this picture.
That is hilarious. Oh, funny games, guys. That's not really going up there, but that would be funny.
Kamaru Usman reads a DM from Ian Gary from 2021. It's a pleasure to watch what you do in that cage, nothing but respect. Bilal says, tell him to reveal the podcast he cried on. They never published the episode Bilal was on Usman's show with Henry Cejudo. Maybe Bilal made him look bad verbally, so they didn't post it. I don't know if he cried. Bilal's not DDP, but maybe he looked bad. Colby Covington blames altitude sickness for his performance against Leon Edwards in his last fight. He did nothing, essentially, for the first 3 rounds, but he started getting started in round 4 and 5. So on every scorecard, he lost the first 4 rounds, and everyone gave him the 5th round, so he lost 49-46 unanimously. Glory 97 Featherweight Grand Prix on the 21st of this month. Same date as Usyk versus Fury Part 2. Usyk is the favorite at -175. A $175 bet would win you 100 if he wins the fight. Fury is the underdog at +137. Betting 100 would earn you $137 if he wins the rematch. In one championship, Freddie Hagerty dropped Kao Klai 3 times, and the referee stopped the fight in round 3.
And that's something that you would never see in a regular jiu-jitsu match.
Right.
You know, hard strikes. In just a pure grappling match, you would never see a guy give his back up to stop the mount. But when strikes are allowed, the mount's a much more dangerous position, much more dangerous.
Look at Calvo bunching up these strikes. I mean, looking at all of our competitors tonight, Calvo, he hits different.
He hits different. He just approaches everything.
Hey, patadas no se tiran. ¿Entiendes? Hey, no hagas eso. No estoy tirando patadas. All right? Hey.
If you guys watch Game Changers and believe any of that crap that's on there, get lost. Like, Game Changers is such nonsense. It's just a way for people to make Americans unhealthy all over again. They're like, oh, eat vegan, no meat, da-da-da. Like, meat is one of the healthiest things, and the way they show farmers or whatever treating animals, the milk industry, they pick one video that they see, or they pick one farm where they're treated bad out of these hundreds of small ranchers and farmers out there and show them treated bad. Listen, as Faith can attest, our cattle get treated better than we do, okay? They eat cookies that have like started to get old on shelves, so we go feed them freaking cookies. They get snacks out there. They're running up to us getting pets every day. We name them. So my husband and I are in the middle of a newborn adoption, and next Tuesday we will be starting the matching process for that baby. So we're very excited. So thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoy the